trust my brothers from way back from the north. Whiskey in the York, spend it like they owe me. Gotta stay select, don't come around me, better come correct. Different lives that we lead, I'm in the Nike check, in a bank, Louis V. Tools on the mopeds, lights don't make no sense, pop up for a minute, eyes up on my whip, Benzes and BMs, lights don't make no sense, falling, man, fall back too close, you ain't even know me, trust my brothers from way back from the north, Misty in New York, spend it like they owe me. Ain't no ain't no time unless it's fees. It's the top of the shelf. It's that stress to get in me, and it's closer to the chest when your pocket's too deep. Tools on the mopeds, lights don't make no sense. Pop up for a minute, eyes up on my whip, Benzes and BMs, lights don't make no sense. Falling, man, fall back too close, you ain't even know me. Trust my brothers from way back from the north.
What is up? What is up? What is up? We are back with another Cooking with AJ. I know it's been a while, y'all. So, decided to do something a little bit different. I know the last time I actually did like a live with you guys, thinking about going back to that, but a good friend of mine that I've known for a very, very, very long time decided that, we live so far away from each other and we wanted to get together. But of course, with the miles between us, we just can't. But we wanted to get together and have a nice dinner, a nice conversation. So we said, hey, why don't we just make the same thing and enjoy it together and enjoy some time together? So I would like to welcome you to the show, Mr. Shann Varner, a.k.a. Hattori Hanzo. How are you, baby? Oh, wait. Hold on 1 second, babe. All right. How are you, sweetheart?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Hey, I'm glad you came through. Why wasn't you dancing with me,
Well, I kind of leave the dancing up to you.
Come on. Okay. Well, I'll take that. Well, thank you, man. Thank you so much for being on. And even more so, I want to thank you for inviting me to be a part of your family's tradition in making this spaghetti bolognese sauce, man. I'm really honored.
You're awesome. So I'm glad to share it with you.
Thank you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of take a step back and I'm going to let you kind of instruct us on how to make this delicious sauce from scratch.
Okay. First of all, this is the way we do it. People can do it a different way. I use the cast iron skillet. No need to go any fancier than that. I put just a little bit of olive oil. This is the type of olive oil I use. Just a splash. I usually try to make like a C shape. And that's probably about, I say, a tablespoon or so of a pan. You want to get just a little bit of olive oil. Now, this is the type of olive oil I use. You can use whatever kind you like. When you put this in, I usually try to make like a C shape. And that's usually about a tablespoon. You don't really need much more than that because your meat's going to make its own, your own fatness from the meat. Okay, and then you want to put your temp on like medium low because you don't want it to be popping and all that. You just want to kind of cook thoroughly. And while it's cooking, you want to do your other things, your mise en place for your dish today. Mise en place is just a way of getting your ingredients together. That way you don't have to, scrounge around to try to get everything last minute. Okay?
All right.
So I'm going to go ahead and grab the hamburger meat real quick, and we're going to toss it in.
And so today we are using 93.7 as the meat. ground beef sirloin is what I have here.
And you can use pretty much any kind of utensils. I use this here to smash the hamburger meat up because you want to kind of, just kind of tear that up. Almost as if you were like making maybe taco meat, I guess you would say. You want it to be real fine, chopped up. You just want to kind of break that up as best as possible.
Okay.
And people, they can make it as chunky as they want to or whatever, but my family prefers really kind of ground up.
Is that because you're kind of trying to make it stretch? You want to get that little meat.
Yes, a lot of Italian dishes are not really that hard. Mainly, a lot of Italian dishes go off of they have a lot of money, and so they make things stretch. They had to make things go, so they would use pretty much anything in the kitchen to make things. Now we take it as like you look at olive oil, it's like their olive oil just like something they had all the time. Where now you got olive oil that's so expensive. Everything's more expensive now, but I'm just saying like they use things that wasn't expensive.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like $15 for like a small bottle of olive oil or something like that. It's crazy.
Yeah, this bottle here is like $23.
Yeah, exactly.
And it is a 17-ounce.
That's like a bottle of wine.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a bottle of wine.
Okay, so why is this one of your favorite dishes that your grandmother ever made?
Mainly because it was simple. It was simple to do for her because she pretty much had everything. She would have the basil in the window. She would have little things like that.
Okay.
Everything's pretty much right there. There's one thing that we're going to add that my mother added. So my mother kind of changed the recipe a little bit. And, I've ate it this way pretty much my whole life because my grandmother would make it one way, my mother would make it another way.
Right.
So my mother would add beef stock, where my grandmother would add some kind of like, she would add something like grease or something like that she had cooked from bacon or whatever, and she stored it. But my mother didn't think that was healthy, so she tried to do what was healthier for us too.
Yeah, I can see that. Well,
okay, once you get that pretty much ground up, Ashley, we're going to go over here to the onion, and we're going to go ahead and chop the onion up. And if your hamburger meat is not working fast enough, you can turn it up just a little bit. But try not to get past that medium low. People have different stoves. Some people cook on gas, some people cook electric. So all the determine how fast your cook time is on your meat.
That is very important. I'm cooking on fire. That would be different if you're cooking on an electric stove.
Right, I'm cooking on an electric stove. You're cooking on the fire, so yours technically would probably get done way faster than mine if you had it turned. But if we're talking to people who's never cooked before, because I'm trying to keep it to the point where somebody has cooked, they're like, oh my gosh, I know how to do that. Oh my gosh, I know how to do that. But we're trying to also reach the people who's never cooked, and so we're trying to explain things on both levels.
And it's not like there is any home economics in class anymore in school offered,
Right.
Where they used to teach you this stuff.
I remember when I was in school, they had a thing called home ec.
Yes.
And you got to do cooking and sewing and all that. I never got to the sewing part, but I enjoyed the cooking part.
Absolutely.
And also did agriculture things. Like we had ag at my school.
Absolutely.
Did welding and woodworking and things like that too. So a lot of that stuff's taken for granted now.
Absolutely. Because you can just order it out, right? You can just go and just, hey, let me just order it on Amazon or whatever, you know?
Yeah. All right, so mine's pretty much ground up thoroughly. So I'm just going to kind of let that work and let this heat up a little bit. And we're going to go over here and take you with me and chop these onions up.
Sounds good.
Okay, so I have 2 onions here. They're kind of medium. You want a large onion, but this is kind of a medium size.
So this is a good one, right?
Yeah, that's a large onion. These
Yeah.
right here are small. These are Vidalia onions here. And so what I'm going to do, I'm basically going to, I guess, show you how I cut an onion.
Okay.
The way I was taught to do it. So you have a little thing here, a little root. You can cut off here, okay, and discard that. Now what you want to do is you want to take your knife and you want to cut this in half. But I'm going to put my hands across it like this. I don't know if you see it with the black. So I'm going to go here and inside like this. That way my finger away. Because if it's
right.
okay, you want here and you want to just kind of press down evenly like that. Now you have your 2 pieces here. Now you want to go from the top. So you want to cut the top. If you have sharp knives, this is way better because sometimes people don't have sharp knives and they end up cutting through and hitting their hands. But I'm just going to slice that into like that. Okay. One as well. Take the top, cut one slit at the top. And this one's a little bit longer or taller. So I'm going to make a couple. Once that done, we're going to turn it to the side this way. We're going to turn it to the side that way. And we have this back right here. That allows us to stop here. Okay. So once we're making our cuts here like this, we're making our cuts, lining the fingers out of the way. We're making those cuts, and it's not losing it because the back is keeping it on. That's why we don't cut all the way through. Okay. Mm-hmm. So now we're going to go straight down here.
Yep.
Your fingers and your knuckles here, we're not going to even get close to our fingers. Okay. You're going to cut this here like this. And this is how you dice an onion. When you get down to the very end, now you can lay it down, kind of get all of that because my grandma will flip out if you waste anything. So we're going to chop those up as well. Okay. To this one.
So have you gotten immune to the crying part of the onion?
Do what now?
Hold on 1 second. 1 second. Let me put it on pause. All right. So Shann, I got my onions ready.
Okay. So what I do is I just get them up and I put them in my little bowl here that I've got.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see that.
Are you adding all of it to the meat?
Yeah, we're gonna add all.
Okay. Are we draining the fat a little bit from the meat?
No,
I can't hear you, dear. You're fading in and out.
hear me now?
Yes. No, now I can't. What happened? Pick it
Do
up
what?
again.
I said the fat in the meat helps the onions cook faster.
Cool.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So whenever you get through chopping, because you're still chopping over there.
Okay.
We're gonna add the onions to the meat.
Yes, sir. Sounds good. So, besides bolognese, what other things do you like to cook?
Really anything. I mean, I just like cooking in general. I like cooking soul food. I like cooking fried chicken, mashed potatoes, black eyed peas, cornbread.
Yes,
Pretty
sir.
much. Yeah, pretty much anything really. Um, take you with me over here. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my onion. You want to go ahead and get the spoon and just kind of
Mhm.
work those onions down inside that. Another thing that actually it'll help you is you'll turn your you'll turn your eye up just a little bit. It'll help some of that grease and from that meat, which is much because it's in 93.7.
Got it.
So you want to
As
turn it up.
when I noticed when I added the onions, those onions kind of soaked up a lot of that oil anyway, that olive oil and the natural beef fat.
Right,
So it's not almost like it's nothing even there.
right. So once you get those all mixed together, um, I'm gonna kind of stir you over here a little bit. It should look something like this. That should be the consistency of it.
Okay.
Um, so now once you get those mixed in, you want to add your salt and pepper. And I use kosher salt. You can use Himalayan salt, whatever kind of salt you want to use. But I use you just want to give it a good roundabout salt. And then I'm going to use pepper, just a McCormick black pepper.
So
About
what
the
I
same.
like to do when we don't have the exact measurement, I like to use my palm. So the palm, and then I kind of close it up a little bit. This is equivalent to about a tablespoon.
Okay.
Same thing with the pepper.
No, I wouldn't use a tablespoon of pepper. It's going to be too spicy. For,
Okay.
for
So then that means I use probably half that amount that I would use.
Yeah, I would use like a, a pinch of it, probably like a 1 teaspoon.
So about this amount, can you see?
Yeah, yeah, that's good. That's good.
All right.
And you're gonna kind of stir those and work those in.
Okay.
I'm you're watching. I'm not really watching here because I'm here cooking with you, but I'm listening to what's going on. I think the Eagles are going to the Super Bowl.
Hey.
Uh, I'm not really an Eagles fan. I'm a Cowboys fan. Please don't.
Don't ever say that again in your life.
Hey, I grew up in Alabama, so I mean,
Right? How did that happen?
so we got like 3 or 4 stations. We got four or 12, and no, that's right, 4, 8, 12, and 32. So a lot of the football games would be Cowboys games, and they would be on channel 12. So that's all we had to watch. We couldn't get no,
Mm.
the Saints or Falcons or anything like that. So we watched America's team in the 90s.
Mm.
So
So
Cowboys were
you
the
were you were forced.
I was forced, but I liked them though. Yeah, I liked them. They had Emmett Smith and Troy Aikman, and I mean I liked them. So now, now they've kind of now they kind of look more like the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Stop it. Stop it. So
But
we're cooking these onions until they're translucent, and then we're adding the garlic.
no, next, after you make the onions translucent, we're going to go and get our tomato paste. We're going to add our okay.
Okay.
And you can get any kind. I got the great value because I mean, you can get the brand name, but I mean, tomatoes is tomatoes.
So I got this one.
That's fine as long as it's a tomato paste. It's whatever.
So I'm using 2 of these guys because mine was 6 ounces a piece. You're gonna need 12 ounces for this recipe.
Yes, 12 ounces. That's correct. Make sure you get all that out.
Okay, my onions are now translucent, so I'm gonna go ahead and add the tomato paste.
Oh, trying to get as much as you can out on it.
Okay. Yeah, it's thick.
That's all. But kind of when they get kind of messed down, you're like, woo, okay. Now it's
Okay.
starting to move around, you know what I mean?
Okay. So mix it till it's well incorporated.
Yes.
Got it.
And it doesn't look like it's ever going to get there, but it will. You just got to start
Okay.
holding it. When you're doing this, it almost has the same consistency of maybe like sloppy joes or something. So that's the consistency.
Okay.
That's the consistency that you want. You want it all the meat. You want it to be a red. Just keep stirring everything pretty much a red looking color. And I do use a cast iron skillet a lot in my cooking. If I'm fried chicken, if I'm I mean, just really anything. I'll get that cast iron skillet. If I'm cooking a steak, cast iron skillet. I mean, I don't know. You just can't be a good cast iron skillet because it just takes things to another level. For me, cooking wise, texture and taste wise, it just does something for me. Um, if you're, let's say you're cooking a steak on a cast iron skillet, it's going to give you, and you use just a little bit of olive oil, and then you put that steak down there, and you have it on like medium high,
Yeah.
and that sear, and you get the searing that thing really nice.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Then, take it up and flip it on the other side, about 2 minutes on each side. And some people like it medium rare, some people like it medium. I do about 2 minutes on each side. I take it out, I let it rest. Okay. Then I go ahead and put some butter in there, probably about a nub of butter. And I get some thyme and I put that in there. Once that butter melts, I get my steak and I put it back into that skillet. And I turn it down on like medium low. So it's not popping, it's not raging anymore. And then I just kind of tilt my pan, sort of like, not sure if you can see this, but I tilt my pan just a little bit like this. And I use the spoon and I kind of baste that back over that steak.
That's right.
And then you just get the yummy goodness flavor from all those other ingredients back onto that steak.
I've seen Chef Gordon Ramsay do that many times with his rosemary and roasted garlic in there, cloves.
Yep. Okay, so now I'm going to give you a kind of a picture of what to look at or look for here. So this should be your consistency. All of us covered. Okay.
Yep. So this is what I got here.
Yes, it looks great.
Thank you.
I'm going to give it one more little stir here. And then we're going to do something crazy.
Okay.
You're going to add to a 6-quart pot. Okay. And then once we do that, we're going to add other stuff into it.
All right.
But this right here is going to be, it's time consuming. This takes a long time. My grandmother used to do this. She would take like 6 hours to do all this.
Yeah.
But we're not going to do this for 6 hours. We're going to do it for maybe 2 hours.
But it takes time to really develop good flavors, especially when you're adding in layers and depths and things like that. So I totally understand. So we're going to go ahead and start transferring this over now.
So I'm going to pick mine up and I'm going to go ahead and start transferring mine in my pan here. Now, I've already had my pan working a little bit with a little bit of olive oil on the bottom of it.
Okay.
Here a little thicker. That's okay. All that stuff up there.
All right. So what are we doing next?
Okay. Put that over here.
Clean up a little bit.
Okay. So now, once we get this, we're going to have to, I'm going to transfer this over here, turn this one off. This is the reason why I tell you to get those things done first. The whole mise en place thing is because now you ain't got to say where's this and where's that. You know what I'm saying? It's everything is right here.
Absolutely.
Okay. So the next thing you want to do is go ahead and stir this up one more time.
Okay.
We're going to add in your tomatoes. Okay. All your tomato stuff.
You saw all the tomato stuff?
Yes. So you're going to get tomatoes, like crushed tomatoes. Now, my grandmother told you before is that she would get Roma tomatoes. She usually used San Marzalas. And she would the top of them or the back of them, she would cut a slit in it. And then she would put those, perfect. She would put those in boiling water. She would boil those. So when they started peeling a little bit in the water, she would take those up and she would put them in ice water to cool them off. That way she can peel them. They're not going everywhere.
Gotcha.
And she peeled them all. She would put that into her sauce here that we just made. So she would crush those up with her hands. But the way we're going to do it today to save us some steps is we're going to crush. We don't have our San. This is the Cetino crushed tomatoes.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah. So we're going to add that in. Okay, we're going to stir that up.
So now with my can, guys, my hands are clean, by the way. And I would do a weird thing where I wash off all of my cans. It's been like that since COVID. So what I did was, since mine were the whole tomatoes, I'm just simply taking the time out to crush them up. Now, I've worked in various restaurants before and things of that nature. So I would probably crush them up if I were you, maybe transfer them into a bowl. I'm being very careful not to burn myself as I'm crushing them up inside of the pot where I'm actually cooking my my meat in, but I would not advise it if you have hairy arms. You will catch your arms on fire. We don't need that. So that's just a little FYI. But like Shann, he had the ones that's already crushed up. They at my store they only had the whole one. So that's how you would do that. If you're uncomfortable with using your hands to crush it, even though using your hands and making sure you can feel your food is a part of adding the love to it. Make sure your hands are clean so you're not adding germs as well as love. But it's very important that you kind of be one with your ingredients. There's nothing wrong with it.
All right. So next, we're gonna add the tomato sauce.
All right.
That's gonna make it the soupy part where it sits there like a brine. This is the brine part of it.
All right.
We're gonna add our sauce.
And this is just and we're doing how many ounces? It was 12 ounces of the sauce?
15.
Or 24. 15?
Yeah, 15.
Okay, so I have a 24-ounce jar of sauce here. So I'll pour in almost all of it.
Almost all of it, yeah, about half.
So a little under half?
Yeah, it would be, okay. Well, you can do a half. It doesn't matter. You can do half of a jar. It's fine.
Okay.
Stir it really good to combine. Okay, now you can use 5 cloves of garlic.
Okay.
If you don't know how to cut garlic really thin, the best next solution is I use 5 tablespoons of garlic, minced garlic. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that in there. I know somebody just said, "Good Lord, it's a lot of garlic." My family, we eat a lot of garlic.
Actually, garlic is very, very good for you. There are health benefits, especially if you have like high blood pressure, things of that nature. It's really good to help lowering that naturally, so you don't have to keep taking those pills and all of that stuff. I'm gonna quickly chop mine down just a little bit more. I made mine a little bit chunkier than I would like, so I'm gonna break it down just a little more.
Okay. One thing I want to cover real quick. Like Ashley said, he's not wearing gloves, and that's fine. You're in your own kitchen. You're doing it. I've worked in restaurants too. Even at home, I like to wear gloves because it's one of those things. If I'm handling raw meat, it's a quick, I can handle the raw meat, throw it in there, exchange gloves, get more gloves, put them back on. It's just a process that I've done over time. And then it just helps me cook faster. I don't have to wait. I don't have to sit there and wash hands. But I will tell you that a lot of people, if they don't know, you can't just touch things. Like if I touch hamburger meat, I can't go touch this over here or pick my phone up or, do all that. It's all contaminated. So every time you touch something like a while ago, when I touched the hamburger meat to put it inside the pot, I had to take my gloves off and get new gloves. So those little things people, forget about sometimes because they do have gloves on. They think they can just touch everything. You cannot do that. So be mindful of that, especially if you're handling like chicken or pork. That's the worst.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Next, we're going to add our dried basil.
Now, how much are we adding?
I did 1 teaspoon. 1 tablespoon.
All right. One tablespoon.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay.
Next, we're going to add our salt and pepper. I did a teaspoon, and just for people's knowledge, I don't know what a teaspoon is really because I do it by hand. So I'm just guessing. a teaspoon of salt and a half a teaspoon of pepper.
So
Okay.
we like to just put it right, like about a nickel-sized dime in the palm of your
Yeah.
hand.
Yeah. And all these ingredients we're stirring thoroughly.
Yeah.
Just constant stir. Because you want to make sure you combine all of the ingredients.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for whatever reason, you know, uh, my grandmother used two things of basil. She used a dried basil. My mother, on the other hand, she used basil paste. Okay. Not sure if you can see that, Ashley.
Yes.
Okay. So she did two of these.
Okay.
My mother just said that it was more of like a I guess like made it creamier or something. I'm not sure. You can
Mm-hmm.
do dried basil. You can do whatever.
I'm using fresh basil.
I got you. You can do that too. You can use two cloves.
Okay. So typically when you're using fresh herbs, you can use a bit more because those herbs are not concentrated as concentrated as a dried herb would be. So in my case, how much of this would I be using?
It looks like you would just be using probably 3/4 of that.
Okay.
So you wouldn't do the whole thing. Where I'm doing both of these right here.
Got it. And I took the liberty of taking all of the stems off of this. I took all of the leaves off to make sure that we didn't have any of those pesky stems interrupting our dining experience. So,
Nobody likes stems.
indeed.
Sorry, that was bad. I mean, that was bad.
No, you put it beautiful to me the other day. So I totally, after you put it to me that way, I totally understood. All right. So now we're adding the basil.
We just added the basil. Now we're adding the last ingredient, which would be our parsley.
Got it. I'm using dry parsley for this one.
Now, right, I'm using dry parsley as well. I've already actually fresh parsley. I've already chopped it up. Okay.
Okay.
What I do is I'm going to use half of this.
Okay.
Okay. Just using half of this. I don't know about you, but I could get me a cracker right now and put this on that cracker.
Nice little taste, huh?
Not yet. Not yet. Let that work a little bit more. But in about like an hour, woo!
So would you say I would add about a tablespoon of dry parsley?
No, I would
Maybe a half?
more than that.
Oh.
You would use more a maybe 2 tablespoons.
Okay. Got it. There we go.
Because I literally used half of that container right there.
Okay.
That was full earlier.
Perfect.
And the rest, I'll put it in the refrigerator. I'll put it in a Ziploc bag, put it in the refrigerator, use it another time. All right, so I've got all mine mixed together. That's pretty much it.
What about the beef stock and the sugar?
So the beef stock, excuse me, comes in about 5 minutes. We have to let this right here work down a little bit, and we're going to put our beef stock in next.
Okay.
What I meant to say with our last ingredients, I meant our dry. Sorry.
Okay.
That was the last bit of dry.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So now it's been 5 minutes. Let's go ahead and add our beef stock, and then we're going to go ahead and add our half a cup of sugar.
Sounds good to me. Now, how much beef stock are we adding?
Half a cup.
Gotcha.
So, half a cup. So I'm just going to pour that in there.
And you said a half a cup of sugar?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, the sugar, some people use it, some people don't. My grandmother never used sugar. She thought it was, yummy without it. My mother, on the other hand, thought it would be best to add the sugar. The reason why she adds the sugar is to cut down on the acidity of the tomatoes.
Absolutely.
Because my grandmother used, real tomatoes, is a little bit too much acid for my mother. She would get heartburn sometimes from it. So she would add the sugar to cut down on that. Now, when you add the sugar to it, you want to stir it at the same time. You don't want to pour it in one spot. Okay.
So, I poured it all over.
I'm stirring at the same time.
Okay.
I'm just doing a little bit at a time to make sure that thing works in there all the way around. Okay. Okay. Once I get this right here in here, I'm going to let you see the consistency of where it should be at home.
It looks beautiful. Smells good too.
Yeah, that's going to be the basil that you're smelling, mainly the basil and the garlic.
Definitely.
And if you want to, you can turn it up a little bit to help it work. I just put a lid on mine. Okay. That's gonna help it work as well.
So, is this the consistency that we're looking for?
Well, let me see. Yeah.
Hold on. Let me see.
Okay, so
hold on 1 second. One second.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because that looks like what mine looks like.
Okay. Awesome.
So you want to have all that greenery in there,
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm going to put the lid on mine, and I'm going to let that work. Now, in putting the lid on there, obviously it's going to cook a little bit faster because that heat is trapped like an oven. You want to let this sit for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. Like I said, actually in the video, my grandmother would let this work for 6 hours, but she would do other stuff too. She would make her own bread. She'd be making her own noodles. There's a lot of things that she did to let this sit. She had the time to let it do. She just put it all together, and then she, let it work and marry together while she did other things. So she tried to make that time so that she would have to do the other, try to use her time wisely in the kitchen. And I kind of learned that a little bit of that from her, and that helped me transition over to working in a restaurant as well.
Awesome. So we got everything working, y'all. We are
Yes.
going to come back and we'll see you in 2 hours. All right, everybody, and we are back. It has been 2 hours later, so our sauce is at the right consistency and doneness and about the sauce. So I'm going to let Shann take it away on this one.
Okay, well, as I told you in the beginning, I really don't measure nothing. My grandmother didn't really measure anything. We just kind of did it by hand. So I guess I kind of misspoke a little bit when I said a half a cup of sugar. You just needed like a quarter cup of sugar. I just did like a big helping hand and put it in there. But anyway, you want to use a quarter of a cup of sugar, not a half a cup. That'll be a little bit too much. If you do accidentally put a half a cup, you can add more salt to it, and that'll kind of even that out a little bit.
So in my case, I actually did put the half a cup of sugar in. So the way I balanced that, I put 3 tablespoons of salt in there, and it actually helped balance out better, so it wasn't as sweet as it was. Now, some people actually like to put sugar on their spaghetti. I had friends back like in the 1900s, as we say, that love to put a little bit of sugar on their spaghetti. So if you're one of those people that prefer a sweeter sauce, the way it was is perfect for you. So now we're getting ready to start on our pasta.
Right, and this is going to be kind of weird. The way I was told is you want to make your pasta water taste like the sea. You want it to taste like the ocean. So the first time I ever did pasta in water, I was on the phone with Ashley. We were on a FaceTime, and I put 3 helping scoops. She's like, "Good Lord!" Some of us got high cholesterol and high blood pressure. Well, you want to put the amount of salt in there because it's going to help your noodles have the salt that it needs. A lot of the salt, especially if your water is boiling like now, a lot of that salt's going to cook out. So what I do, once your water is boiling like a raging bull, you want to take, and I don't even know how much this is, guys, but I want to take about, I can't really show you without spilling, I don't think. I don't know, probably about a good 2 tablespoons each time. You're going to do 3 of these now. About like Ashley's got, she can show you. Yeah. So you're going to do 1, kind of mix those around like that. You're going to do 2. Okay. And you're going to do 3. 3 nice size palm handfuls. Okay. So once you get that in there, you want to take another wooden spoon and you want to stir that around in there. Kind of dissolve the salt, if you will, just a little bit, not too much. Okay. Now, pasta. Now, I like to have pasta for a couple of days, whether if I take it for lunch or if I'm having it for leftovers or whatever. I'm using 2 pounds. There are 3 of us in my house, so I'm going to use all 2 pounds.
I am going to use 1 pound because we are not, we just had spaghetti not too long ago, and I've already asked them. They said, "Hey, we'll eat a little bit more." So I'm going to be kind of conservative. I got plenty of sauce, and I can just make more pasta. Now, Shann, what are your thoughts on people breaking the pasta?
True Italians don't break your pasta. Won't after you put it on the plate, you may cut it with a knife. That's fine. A fork and knife. Cut your pasta. Once it's out, when you're cooking it, do not cut it. Do not break your pasta.
I saw your face. I already knew that. I knew that. I just wanted to see your face when I asked. That's why you did not see me break that bad boy. I didn't want no friendships to end.
Yeah, I probably would have hung up on you. Not really. I'm just. Okay, so while we had that working the 2 hours, we also did prep in that 2 hour time frame. I'm actually making a salad where I got some lettuce and I cut that up, and I got some carrots and I shaved those. So I made a small salad with some cucumbers and bell peppers as well. So I've worked that. I've also got my, I'm doing a breadstick. Hold on just a second. So the breadsticks that I use is the New York style breadsticks. It's almost like an Olive Garden taste. But you put your oven on, your conventional oven on 425, and you cook it for about 5 or 6 minutes. That way it should be nice and crispy at the bottom. And I'm going to go ahead and move my pasta down a little bit because it's starting to get to.
All right. So my pasta has already started to get soft, and so I've already kind of put it down into the water so it can cook. Now,
Yep.
I totally agree because I did get some of these New York Bakery breadsticks too. So, but what I did was instead of me turning on my conventional oven, I decided that I wanted to put it in the air fryer. So what I did was I just simply put them in the air fryer on 180 to kind of warm them up slowly. If you would like them to be done a little bit faster, you can put them on 400 degrees, but keep an eye on them, 8 minutes, okay? But as you can see, it came out nice and beautiful and still warm. So have those sitting off to the side, waiting to be served with this delicious pasta that we're going to allow to cook for, so al dente?
Yes.
So 11 minutes. If you like your pasta a little bit more soft, a little bit more softer, without that little bite, then cook it for an additional minute, so 12 minutes.
That just means you're American.
Well, sometimes people identify, like what they had when they were like young. So like maybe they had like the Chef Boyardee stuff. And so of course that is nowhere near Italian, right? Except maybe the name. But like it was all that soft stuff. So you didn't have that kind of chewy taste. Now, as I'm an adult and being able to prepare my own food and understanding the difference between a softer noodle and a more textured noodle, I personally prefer an al dente noodle. It stands up to the sauce a little bit better, to me. Some people like to add olive oil to their water as the pasta boils. In certain instances, if you're making certain dishes, that is totally acceptable. In this one, though, you want to try to keep the starch or make the noodle as dry as possible. So do not add any oil to this because when you add the sauce, you want that pasta to be able to absorb the sauce properly.
Right. If you take your pasta up, some people add the olive oil to that or butter or whatever. Not only does it stop the cooking time when you take it out, but in some instances you can take your pasta out, put it in cold water or whatever to stop the cooking process. Yes, but on certain things you don't want to do that. With me cooking spaghetti, I don't want to do that. I don't want to add olive oil either to my pasta because I don't want that extra oil to be in my sauce once I transfer it over to it. When I marry the pasta together, that's what if I marry my pasta into my sauce, then I don't want that extra olive oil, that extra oil to be surfacing to the top of my spaghetti sauce.
Exactly.
That's what you'll have. But if you put olive oil with and a lot of people put it with their pasta because, especially fettuccine, because it allows it to separate. It doesn't allow it to stick together. A lot of people, when their noodles get done or to a certain point, they'll want to stick together. And if you don't want your pasta to stick together, you can add some type of lubricant to, in this case, olive oil, to help separate that, help separate your noodles. But in this instance, you don't want to do that because you don't want to put extra oil into your sauce. You're gonna change the texture of your sauce if you do that.
So what I like to do to keep the noodles from sticking without the use of a lubricant is to use tongs. I use some tongs to kind of keep the noodles separated as they're boiling in the water every couple minutes. Just kind of moving that along, separating them as they're coming together, and eventually we're almost there. So for someone, let's just say you walked in and you put your pasta on and you forgot to set your timer. How do you know that your pasta is ready? What would someone that is a rookie need to know?
Taste it. Just taste it. When I'm cooking my sauce especially, I'm going to taste it and taste it and taste it through all the processes because I want to make sure I got every ingredient in there. And then when I'm tasting it, I want to be able to taste all the ingredients in there. So, like with this pasta here, you kind of want to babysit it a little bit. And don't be scared that your pasta water is going to run over because sometimes it will. But you just want to keep stirring that pasta up. And then once you think that it's done, just grab you a piece, such as like this here. Just grab you a piece, and then you just try it. Just take it. Okay, that for instance is still kind of hard, so it's not completely done yet. But that's the way a rookie would do it, or somebody. I shouldn't say rookie. Somebody who's like a novice maybe that is starting to cook pasta. I can pretty much tell when it's done just by looking at it. Sometimes you'll have pasta like celatini or rotini, and they'll start to swell up. And you can obviously see, okay, this is swelling up. This must be about done. With spaghetti, it does swell up slightly, but since they're already so small, you can't really tell by looking at it if you're not used to cooking it. So you just pick it up. Now listen, the whole thing about picking something up and throwing it up against the wall, don't do that.
I was wondering because you know that was gonna be my next thing.
Yeah, don't do that. there's no. All you gotta do is get a piece. See if it's the way you like it. If it tastes the way you like it, then it's done. But it's supposed to have a small bite to it. It's what al dente means, is a small bite. So it's supposed to have a small bite to it. So you don't want it too crunchy, yet you don't want it too, loose, too. You
don't want it too soft.
Yeah, too soft or too stringy or whatever.
So what I noticed, because I just tasted one of mine and I can tell that it needs maybe 2 more minutes.
Yeah.
Because while it was pliable, or like it was flexible, I should say, there was still some sort of a bend to it before I even ate it. So I knew that it wasn't quite ready yet. And when I tasted it, it was still like a soft and crunchy, but it wasn't al dente. So in about 2 minutes, I know that it's pretty much going to be done.
Right. Yeah. I'm going to check my breadsticks real quick. They should be about done. They are done. Nice and pretty. Once your breadsticks gets done, if you're using these, you want to kind of hit them a little bit with some salt on top.
Preferably. All right, so it looks like the pasta is coming along pretty good. I'm going to give it 1 more minute.
think my pasta's done as well. Go ahead and turn my eye off. Kind of let that sit there. Another thing too is when you're doing this sauce, you kind of want to put a lid on your sauce because it's going to have that condensation up under the lid, and that's going to also help you with a little bit of extra liquid, so that it's easier to work. It doesn't become a thick paste. It still has some liquid to it.
Mm-hmm.
Now for me, there's two things that I don't like, and one thing I do like. I guess there's two. My two things is a one and a one. But my first thing is when somebody brings you a plate of pasta and the pasta is on the bottom and then the sauce is on top.
Okay.
That's, to me, and I can only speak for me and my family, but that's not right. You're supposed to put the pasta into the sauce and marry it together and then plate it. That's just the way my family has always done it. So, nobody out there hating on me, because I told them they're not authentic, but that's just the way my family always done it. We've always married the pasta together. So with 2 pounds of this, I'm not going to marry all this together. I'm going to put it in a Ziploc bag, and I'm going to have it a day. So when I do take it out and make it pliable again, I'm going to put it back in the sauce and just marry that together and then heat it up at work or whatever. Like I said, I'm going to take it to work and have leftovers. So, but as far as now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get ready to plate my stuff. Are you at that point?
I am. I'm going to go ahead and pour the water off the pasta.
Okay.
And
I got a little thing. I'm not sure if you can see it or not, but I've got it's like a 2-in-1 type of thing where the pasta water is down here and this is on top.
Yeah.
And so when I bring the pasta up, it's automatically.
What?
Yeah.
I definitely need to invest in one of those, but I got the classic colander right now.
Oh, that's fine. And that's just one thing, I'm gonna double check this right here, make sure it's done. Plus, if you ain't eating your own stuff, perfect. That's perfect. So I'm gonna go ahead and add some.
Now, what I like to do, because I did not make a ton of pasta. Again, it's kind of we all kind of want just a little bit, right? So what I like to do, I have my pasta right here. Mm-hmm. And so what I like to do is I'm going to take some of the sauce from what I have and add it to this pot and mix it around. Kind of like what Shann was saying, you're getting the flavor and well incorporated into the pasta itself, but I'm only going to use like a little bit, right? So then I'm going to go in there with my spoon, kind of incorporate that. And then I'm going to top mine off with a little extra sauce on top and serve it with the breadstick on the side and some fresh basil.
Okay. So now I'm getting to the point where I'm fixing to plate.
Me too. Let's do it. Okay, and so just for an example of what I was talking about, you see how the pasta has a little bit of the sauce inside?
Yep.
Now I'm going to start plating.
So here's my dish.
And I'm just using a nice black bowl here.
And I'm going to go ahead and cheese mine. Put that
Okay.
Parmesan on there.
And I'm actually not having cheese tonight.
So that's, to me, is pretty good. Get this parsley that we used earlier. There's that. We'll grab one of our breadsticks. Beautiful breadstick. And then we're going to kind of take it along so you can kind of see what I have. And people can see this here. So there's mine, Ashley.
Yeah, yes, looks good. Here's mine. Nice and rustic, baby.
That's it.
And right here. That's it right there.
Well, I loved hanging out with you tonight.
I love hanging out with you too. Now, you know we can't lead the people without a taste, so we got to taste it right now.
One taste. Okay. One taste.
Go and taste. Like, hurry up. It smells good too. It smells. You can smell all. My favorite thing is this basil.
Okay. Here we go.
Cheers.
Boom, shakalaka.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's it.
You know what? Glove's got to come off now. Glove's got to come off.
Well, we really hope that you enjoy watching us cook. You know, sometimes it's really good to reconnect with friends, and having food usually brings people together, no matter where you are. You know, we are hundreds of miles away from each other, but right now, we're
At least both start with A. Arizona and Alabama.
No, right? There you go. But at least we can still have dinner together. So thank you for your time, Shann. I really appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
Anytime. All right, so let's go. Let's go ahead and end things off right. We'll see y'all in the next video.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.